A loud noise shook the sky and the ground. Smoke was everywhere. Xiaozibei smiled bitterly before she even opened her eyes. She had failed again. In the next moment, the weird sensations in her body made her open her eyes, her gaze looking sharp. The sloppy, dirty, and stinking man in front of her did not notice the change. Instead, he grinned and bared his yellow teeth while stroking her body. Xiaozibei's motions were faster than her thoughts. She grabbed the man's hand and pulled hard. Ow! The man yelped, and his scream scared all the feral dogs and cats who were scrounging for food in the trash cans nearby. Let me go! The man yelled as he tried to push Xiaozibei. But in the next moment, he screamed again as Xiaozibei kicked hard at his lower body, his eyes bulging out from the pain. What kind of man wouldn't he understand this kind of pain? Xiaozibei didn't stop. She kicked him again, sending him to the wall. The man curled up. His face was so pale, and he couldn't speak. Xiaozibei looked around blankly. This familiar yet strange alley with its sour and pungent smell finally unlocked her long-forgotten memory. She looked down at her body in t-shirt and jeans, and her expression finally changed. She was reborn again. And she was reborn as a 17-year-old. Yes, she was reborn twice. The first time, she was reborn in a mysterious fantasy world with her memories, eventually becoming a legendary doctor and a naturalist. However, she had never expected to be reborn a second time. And she had returned to her first life, a lifetime when she was the most unwilling and resentful. Looking at the man groaning in pain, her eyes became colder. In this life, although she had parents, they had long ago divorced and made new families who regarded her as a burden and let her live by herself. As a result, she had no choice but to work to support herself. During this point in time, she was working as a clerk for a small restaurant. She had gone out for a delivery, and when she passed through this narrow alley, she was followed by this homeless man who had assaulted her. Even though she got away in the end, the encounter had traumatized her for life. Now that she was reborn, she would start her change with this man. She walked toward the man as she thought of this. No, don't come over. When he heard her footsteps, the homeless man became afraid, and he started to beg. Someone told me to come. I didn't want to. Xiaozibei stopped walking. Her face was dark and inscrutable, her gaze cold. Who told you to come? A teenager. He gave me money, he told me to wait for you here. He told me to do all this. The homeless man didn't dare to hide anything and immediately told her the whole story. He was afraid that if he talked too slow, Xiaozibei would kill him. A teenager. Xiaozibei looked down. How much did he give you? Just 1,000 yuan. 1,000 yuan was enough for him to ruin a girl. So cheap. Even though the last step wasn't committed, this incident was already a huge blow to Xiaozibei, who was originally introverted and timid. This was also the start of her tragedy. Thinking of this, she stepped forward. Where is the money? The homeless man was startled and looked up at her in disbelief. Take it out. Xiaozibei stomped a foot on his back with no mercy. I'll get it now. The homeless man hurriedly pulled out 1,000 yuan from his clothes. Can I go now? I'm really innocent. Picking up the money that was still smelly, Xiaozibei showed a weird smile. Innocent? How innocent can someone be to ruin a girl for 1,000 yuan? Her mouth moved. In the next instant, a few feral cats suddenly appeared and charged toward the homeless man. Arg! In the fantasy world that Xiaozibei was reborn into for her second life, there were animal trainers and royal botanists. People who had both skills were called naturalists. It could be because of her memory that she had a strong mental power to become a rare naturalist. Even though her skills in this area were almost non-existent after being reborn, controlling a few feral cats and dogs was still really easy. Xiaozibei wasn't moved by the screams coming from behind her. She kept walking forward. However, as she passed another alley, a few footsteps came. "Get him! He's in front! Don't let him get away!" Xiaozibei frowned. She didn't want to face these people, so she carefully darted away. As she got close to a raft of bamboo, the scent of blood rushed to her nose. Before she could react, a hand had pulled her into the raft of bamboo. "Shhh!" A low-pitched voice sounded, and before she could speak, he hugged her and covered her mouth. A masculine scent filled her nostrils along with the thick scent of blood. The footsteps outside got closer. They were headed toward them. Xiaozibei was angry, but she couldn't let those people get close to them. They might think she was with the man. Her brows moved. "Over there!" Someone yelled, followed by others running in another direction. After making the feral cats and dogs lead the people away, Xiaozibei felt dizzy and her body went limp. She would have fallen on the ground if the man didn't catch her. However, their pose was a little suggestive. Xiaozibei was very thin, but she wasn't short. She was almost 170 centimeters. The man, however, was taller. She could feel his energy over her head, giving her goosebumps. He was also quite strong, with a wide and solid chest. When Xiaozibei had been pulled in here earlier, she didn't struggle, she just tried to maintain some distance from him. Now, she was too weak to stand from her exertion. She could only lean on him. There was almost no space between them. Such an ambiguous posture was already embarrassing, but what made Xiaozibei ashamed and annoyed was that the man's body seemed to have changed. The air seemed to have frozen as the two of them leaned together. Confirming that those people had left, she pressed against the man's chest and pushed him away. "Hum!" The man grunted. There was more blood on his belly now. "Pa pa pa!" The bamboo raft fell to the ground, making a crisp sound and bringing up a lot of dust. Xiaozibei finally saw the man. He was at least 185 centimeters tall. He had a lean figure and angular features, slanted and strong brows, deep and sharp eyes, thin lips, and a frown that made him look like an emperor overlooking the world from his throne, exuding arrogance. Too bad the blood stains and the mess made his strength ridiculous. When Xiaozibei clearly saw the man's face, her gaze changed. Qiao Yanzhu. People called him Master Zhu. The Qiao family was renowned for its wealth in the country of Hua, and he was a mogul of the business world, which frightened people. Except, when she thought of Qiao Yanzhu's relationship with a certain person, she wished that she could have made those people chasing him come back. Xiaozibei's gaze made Qiao Yanzhu frown. He hesitated. "You know me?" "I don't know you." Xiaozibei's face was unchanged. Of course, Qiao Yanzhu didn't believe her. He could tell that the young woman wasn't telling the truth. However, he had no time to ponder this as his injury became worse. His body shook. Xiaozibei didn't have time to think, she strode forward and supported him.